Welcome back to Breathe More. I am excited for today's guest. KJ is joining us today, who's an amazing astrologist. She's a friend. I think I met you 3 years ago, or was it only two? Time just goes by so fast.
I think it was 3 years ago,
Was
yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
It was a gift. I got a gift as a reading for my business, which was like, what? Businesses can have like readings based on when you started it. I couldn't believe it. And so it's become a yearly tradition for myself to have a reading with KJ for my business so that I can plan like launch dates and also talk about my offerings. It's been really incredible to have her support. And then we've also have become friends. And so this year, when I was thinking about what retreats I want to host, KJ came to mind immediately as someone that I wanted to collaborate with. And I love the desert. I know that KJ loves the desert too.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I reached out to her like a few months ago. It's been a quick turnaround. I'm like, hey, I want to host a retreat for the new moon in November in Joshua Tree. I think you would be an amazing addition to sharing your gifts with the group. Would you be down for it? And she said yes. And so here we are
I was
getting
like, "Yeah."
close to hosting. Yes, please. So, KJ, welcome. I appreciate you so much, respect you so much. You're incredible. Can we talk about astrology and why it
Oh my
matters?
gosh. Yeah, my favorite thing to talk about. I think you're incredible, and when you asked me, I was like, "Okay, perfect collab, yes. Perfect place, yes. Perfect timing, yes." And
Yes.
I'm a sacral mani-gen, so I was like, "Lit up, yes." My sacral was like, "Let's go, girl."
I love it. So here we are. Okay, how is it? I got my first natal birth chart reading, I don't know, like a while back. And before that, I didn't know anything about it. And I was blown away. Like it wasn't a customized, it was a group workshop where we wrote it down and then put together, I don't know, some lines. But I couldn't believe that given the time, the day, and where I was born, that what was happening in the stars had such a huge influence in who I am as a person.
It still
And
surprises me, and I see it every
right?
day, but it still
How?
gives me these chill bumps of, wow, everything is magic. Everything is around us, and we are astrology, just like the way that I describe it is the way that biodynamic wine is made, and you're from Napa, so you'll
Mhm.
get this, and any wine lovers out there, when you get a bottle of wine that's really beautifully made, you can taste the area that it's made and the season and the time that it's made. And we are like that because astrology is just how we quantify the qualities of time. And so I'm always joking, I'm a time sommelier. Like, what is the quality of time?
Yeah.
What's the quality of the time? And then you are a product of that time that you're born. So then you have all those qualities.
That's just like mind blowing. And I feel like a lot of people, they have a really hard time. I feel like there's a lot of skepticism around it where it's like,
Yeah.
how is that possible? Can we go a little bit more into detail? And yeah, and then I have another thought around that too.
Hmm. So to be really deep about it, I think that the skepticism comes from the disconnection on a greater scale of our connection to Earth. Because astrology is just the mimicry of Earth. It's the above and the below are so connected, and everything we do in astrology is based on our perspective from Earth. And so when we say there's no possible way that that connection can exist, we sever the cord from us being a part of nature, and that is sacrilegious.
That is so true and deep. And it's all around us. I think
Yeah,
like the bigger all the problems that we see in the planet is so much of it because of that, the disconnection.
yeah,
Right. And I
yeah.
love how doing a reading with you or knowing more about it is a way for us to get grounded and learn more and appreciate and have a different outlook on
Totally.
life.
And
It's
it gives
amazing.
you intimacy with yourself so that you
Mhm.
can better understand other people and yourself. And I think understanding is the verb of love.
Mm.
And so it just helps us be nicer, more understanding people to ourselves, to other people, to animals, to plants.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of the suffering as well, I know in my mastermind, so much of the fear that's shared is this comparison of
Yeah,
I'm not good enough or someone else is doing it this way, then I have to do it that way. But what you're saying is that we each have our own unique way of being,
totally.
processing, doing
Yeah,
because of when we were born and what was happening in the cosmos. I've
yeah.
never thought about it that way. It's like a way of loving yourself and accepting yourself.
It's like a permission slip to find exactly who you are and how you're supposed to achieve who you are so that you can just go full force and embrace it. Just knowing that's who I am. Now it's not escape. It's not an escape. It's to say, oh, that's how I am. I'm not going to change and evolve
Yeah.
because there's a range that we're working with when we're
Mhm.
talking about zodiac signs or archetypes. And so you can say, yeah, I'm this archetype, but that archetype has a shadow, a neutral, and an optimal light way of being. And we usually want to stay in that neutral to optimal, but we all
Mm.
fall into the shadow.
Yeah.
And so it's not a permission slip to be a jerk, but it's a permission slip to be your most authentic self.
Yeah, and once you have that awareness, then you have the choice of, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that isn't helping me, that's not serving me, that's actually causing pain. What can I do to change that to heal while still being my
Yeah.
authentic self?
Totally. It helps you have context to where you're coming from so that you can rise above or out of.
So good. So KJ is having a really hot year this year. I feel like you've been featured in Vogue recently. She's had collaborations with Goop and Poosh. So, what is your
Yeah, it's been a
specialty?
work.
What's going on that right now people are wanting all these readings? Tell us as well, like what you specialize, because I think you do something very unique.
Well, I think collectively, everyone is moving more towards spiritualism of many types. Ever since a couple of years ago, we had a very special conjunction that we haven't had since 1856. And that conjunction was tied with the spiritualist movement. And back then, it was like people were doing secret seances in the closet and people were using astrologers, but it wasn't even legal,
Mm.
truthfully. Like, I would be arrested 200 years ago for doing what I do. And then so ever since that conjunction happened 2 years ago, we're mimicking things that happened 170 years ago. And that is leading to a resurgence of everyone interested in astrology, tarot,
Mm.
manifestation, a law of attraction, all of these things. And now that we live in a world where we can run online businesses
Mhm.
and we have the luxury of saying, where do I want to live? Because we're not tied to place by job as much as we used to be. And global travel has really only been accessible to the average person since maybe the 80s.
Mhm.
So now I specialize in astro-cartography or locational astrology and business astrology to bridge those things together using this really ancient science that's like 12,000 years old to actually fit the needs of today, which is where do I want to go? Where do I want to live? Where should I travel to? How should I be running my online business or my small food truck business differently than the next person over? Because there's a special way that you're supposed to do it based on you and your chart
Mhm.
instead of the template that everyone is maybe trying to sell to you that you should do it this way. And you're like, I'm doing it this way and it's not working out. There's
Yeah.
a reason for that.
I know the guidance this year, the reading that I did with you for my business, it was that, right? Because I'm working with a business coach or a couple of them. And one of them was suggesting that I just solely focus on being a business coach and helping soulful entrepreneurs. While I love doing that, that just felt so limiting. And so when I had my
Yeah,
reading with you and I told you that, you're like, no, that's not it. Like, you're more of a thought leader. And so, what you were saying, based on what you were reading from the birth of my business, the chart, I'm like, yes, that's how I feel. But
oh
when we're
yeah,
so in it and we're feeling frustrated that maybe things aren't working the way we want them, for me, it was just so validating. And also, even though I'm someone who, like, I just speak my mind and for the most part, I do what I want. But again, when you're investing a ton of money on someone and you see them be
yeah,
more successful and you respect their work, they must know what they're talking about. But internally, that didn't
totally.
feel like the right thing for me. So the reading with you gave me additional confidence to really honor what already intuitively I was feeling
Oh
and
my
push
god, I
back
love
on the
that.
guidance, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I know you see me as this, or you think that this might be the path of least resistance, but
yeah,
part of the reason why I have my own business and I've never worked for anyone is because I need to love what I'm doing.
yeah,
My
and you're a
soul immediately
Sagittarius.
yeah, it's like,
Like, you have to
I
have
gotta be
freedom. You
free.
have to have your own autonomy, and you can take help from people,
Mhm.
but you have to it has to feel right within you, and I think Sagittarius people are really in tune with what it is that you wanna achieve. You know, it's that ability to look out in the sea of everything and see, "That's what I want," and run into
Yeah,
that desire, and when something's off, you know, and then
we
the chart can
know big
confirm
time.
it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really uncomfortable. And also, like, being a Sagittarius, I feel like I'm constantly changing. It's like
Right.
not I outgrow things, and so then I pivot or I change, and
Yeah,
that has been my truth, but it's also not that easy
really.
because it feels like I'm always starting something new as well. But that's the trade-off versus just doing something because someone told me to do that, or
Yeah.
I've been doing it for X amount of time, and what does it mean to start all over, right?
Well, it kinda goes back to that old way of thinking where, like, you know, if you spend 30 years in a job, then you're a great
Right.
person and you've
Right.
devoted your life to one company, and it's like and maybe that does work for some people, that safety and consistency. I know some people who love that, and it
Mhm.
really speaks to them, and I'm like you, I'm a Gemini, and those are actually mutable seasons. So, when we talk
Mhm.
about a sign, it's also a season of time, and Gemini and Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces are the seasons that take us into the next one. And so we have that flexibility and agility and kind of in and out to vibe and see, am I going this way or that way? Is it time to pivot? Is it time to change? And so
Yeah.
that's being authentic when you
Yeah.
and I make changes. And if someone else who's like
Mhm.
a Taurus or a Leo who's like a stabilizer and they're happy doing the same thing for many, many years, that's also authentic.
Right. And so that's one of the ways, as KJ has been sharing, that how astrology can help us, right? And to feel more
Yeah.
confident and love ourselves and trust ourselves even more, because what you should be doing or who you are, like that's unique to you. And we
Hmm.
really need to stop comparing ourselves to what other people are doing or what they're thinking. I know that came up in the new moon circle I just hosted, where there's like so much fear of judgment and what
Oh,
other people
yeah.
are going to think. And I had to remind them, like, people gossip or people will talk shit, but at the end of the day, I think the majority of us are just so consumed with our own life and our own
Yeah.
problems that we're not really thinking about the other person that much,
That's the
unless we're talking
truth.
about a family member or something. So
You're
that brought a
right.
little bit of levity to it. Okay,
Yeah.
let's talk about the retreat. So we're going to be
Yay!
meeting November 1st, which is new moon in Scorpio, into the weekend. And we're going to go on a journey in a powerful vortex of Joshua Tree. We have an amazing retreat house where it has a pool and just all this land for us to ground. I feel like that's another thing that I'm seeing in my clients where people are exhausted, especially with the upcoming election and just
Yeah.
stressed out, so much uncertainty, the demands of life, and people are really craving rest, like time for them, time to turn off, like time to center themselves. And so we're definitely going to be doing that at this retreat. There's going to be a lot of grounding, there's going to be a lot of resting. And then also, we're going to be using the land and what's happening in the skies as a tool to help you renew who you are, like shed, step
Yeah.
into the new.
I think there's something so beautiful about us as individuals coming from our very different cities across the world, coming to this one sacred, quiet, stoic place in the lone desert that has these ancient trees and the time and the place and us being a part of nature connecting with that is going to be something that's truly one of a kind.
Mhm.
And it couldn't be more perfect that it's also coinciding with Dia de los Muertos and Samhain, which dates back. It connects to both of our families and cultures and ancestry, and that's a big part of all of this too.
Yeah. So when we arrive We'll start with an opening ceremony, and then we're going to have a new moon ceremony where we're going to incorporate the element of fire, where, as KG just said, we're going to honor our ancestors because it is Dia de los Muertos as well. And recognizing, because so many of you doing this healing work, you are cycle breakers. And so while we're also honoring our ancestors and everything that they did so that we could be here today, we're also going to recognize, what do we not want to carry with us anymore? What beliefs, what stories, what traumas are ending with us? And so we're going to be doing practices around that to do some deep healing so that you can create space for your future, for your authentic life, for the next generation, and not carry into the future traumas that just, it's time to retire. So we'll be
Yeah.
doing that. And then we're going to be throughout the retreat eating yummy, delicious organic foods. So you'll be completely taken care of. There's none of that to worry about. And then the Saturday will be a full day of activities where we have someone who's going to be doing a morning just body movement, like gentle yoga and sound bath outside, again in nature. We're going to be doing then a manifestation ritual where KJ and I were going to guide you through that practice, still using the energy of the new moon. There's going to be some time as well for rest. And if you want to go explore, or if you want to do a private session. Oh, that's the other thing too. As a bonus, y'all are getting a treat. You want to talk about what they're getting from you?
Yes, this is gonna be so fun because I think the beautiful thing about retreats, and this is the first that I've hosted, so Anna is very seasoned with this, but I've been to retreats, and something that happens to me when I'm preparing is the few weeks leading up, it's almost like you're tapping into the energy of what you're about to experience. And so leading up to the event a couple of weeks before, I'm going to send everyone a personalized astro-cartography and astrology reading that talks about your astro-cartography connection to the land of Joshua Tree and what you can expect to experience, feel, tap into, as well as the timing of what transits are happening to you right now, what kind of things might be bubbling up, and how to prepare and work with those energies, as well as where is the new moon hitting in your chart, because it affects each of us differently. And some of us might be really tapped into this new moon coming up, and it might be a doozy, and we might really feel it. And then some, it might just be ah, peaceful and bliss renewal, depending on you and your individual energy. So that's going to be really fun. I'll be sending those out ahead of time to get everyone connected and tapping into what's about to happen. Playing with timelines is really fun. When you think about time not existing and how you're pulling in from another dimension, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, y'all are so lucky to be getting this reading with KJ included in this retreat experience. She's booked out pretty much through the end of the year. The fact that you're going to get this information and just validation before we go into the retreat is going to be so helpful and empowering. So I
Yeah.
was so grateful when you offered that suggestion. I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, that would completely elevate the
Oh, yeah.
experience.
It's
So
so fun for me.
such a great gift that y'all are going to be getting. And then we're going to be working with plants as well and creating some beautiful bundles for you. We're going to go stargazing in the park and like really just immersing ourselves under the brilliant lit up sky in Joshua Tree. For those of you who live in cities, it's rare that we see
Yeah.
stars. There's so much light pollution that I know now that I moved to Idaho, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you can see all of this. It's really incredible. So I'm excited to do that
It's a
too.
treat. Yeah.
And then we're going to end our gathering with some chakra opening movement dance. KJ is going to be guiding us in a
Yeah.
practice where, tell us more about that.
This was actually how I started my I first became Reiki certified, and that's when I really got into learning about the chakras. And that was my gateway to spirituality. And I got really into it. I was about 16,
Oh,
actually. And
wow.
because I got really sick in high school. And so that was my way of healing. I was like, if I can tap into like what my chakras are doing, I think I can help heal my body too. So I did the Reiki thing. And then I learned about ecstatic dance with the chakras. So I did a lot of ecstatic dance with the Nia branch and did some courses in that, and then actual chakra dance. And so what's really cool is that when you dance to certain musical beats, it actually triggers the frequency and the speed at which your chakras vibrate.
Mm.
And we have 7 chakras that start at the base of the spine and go all the way up to the crown of the head. So when we do chakra dance, we start with the base and we connect with the root and the ground, and we wake up that survival chakra, and then it takes us up through all the chakras of confidence and desire and love and expression and connection to spirituality. And through the synchronized movements and free movements and synchronized beats, then we start to wake up and clear out any density in those chakras. So we're doing that towards the end of the retreat. So everything that's coming up, we're gonna shake it out and give it back to the desert to
Yes.
be renewed.
So you can leave feeling energized and open, high vibes, confident, and ready to receive your
Yeah,
manifestations. It's going to be so incredible. We are meeting in 3 weeks in the desert, and we have 4 spots left. We have some shared rooms, or if you prefer to find your own Airbnb or a hotel room, we also have some weekend passes. So that's available as well. And I just can't wait. It's going to be
it's gonna
incredible.
be so great. Yeah. And I've been in Anna's classes in person before, and it's really rare to see people having such a profound experience in just like a 1 hour session. So I can't imagine how transformative Anna's work is going to be over the course of 3 days, just seeing what happens in a 1 to 2 hour setting.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, I forget that people hold space differently and that what
Yeah,
my clients experience isn't necessarily normal in a good way. So, yes, that's part of the reason why I continue to do these retreats is because they're so potent. In a short amount of time, you can change your energy so much. And my first retreat that I hosted was actually in Joshua Tree 5 years ago. And I started with just doing a day retreat and then people camped if they wanted to. And even that in itself was life-changing for people.
oh
So the fact that
yeah,
we get to spend a whole weekend together, it's gonna be amazing. We have such a great group of people joining us. We have a mother-daughter coming. We have some friends who are gathering. We have people flying from across the country. Like they are coming to make themselves a priority. So if this
that's
sounds
beautiful.
interesting and fun to you, we would love to welcome you. We do have some payment plans to make it more accessible. So please click on the show notes and learn some more, or feel free to reach out to either of us to get any additional questions answered. KJ, thank you
Absolutely.
so much for sharing your magic with us here today.
Thanks for having me. I'm so looking forward to this. If you're on the fence, I've been there. Treat yourself. This is gonna be the thing that you really wanna come to this year.
And just imagine like how much clear and confident you're going to be starting the new year as well,
Yeah,
right? I feel like this year has been difficult for a lot of people. And so, yeah, giving yourself this gift of let me just process what has come up for me in this year and beyond. Let me be really clear on how I want to move forward and how I want to end and start the new year. And it's incredible. So, yes, we will see you in Joshua Tree. And we'll be back as well next week for more Breathe More episodes. Have a great day, everyone.